What's going on, guys? I'm Steve. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. If it's your first time stopping by the channel, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't regret it. You're a returning subscriber. As always, guys, welcome back, and I do appreciate the support. Guys, I want to talk about parenting. And you know, a lot of times when we talk about parenting or the lack thereof of proper parenting and guidance for children, a lot of times it's because of a reflection of what children do in the street, which goes and reflects back on the parenting they had when they were younger. Well, this right here is a reflection of the type of parent that produces heartless, uncaring individuals because of things they went through from being parented as such people as this man right here. I'll put him at the bottom. Guy you see here, his name is Micah Smith, like the Bible, Micah. And the shit he did is something you gotta hear to believe. Now, I just seen this story this morning, but this occurred on October 11th when this guy right here, Micah Smith, decided to take his 3 children, excuse me, on a hike on this place here. This is Cottonwood Canyon. Look at that shit. Cottonwood Canyon. He decided to take his 3 children, him included, on a 9-mile hike through this mountain. Now watch this. The ages of the children, from oldest to youngest, of the 3 children is an 8-year-old girl, the oldest, a 4-year-old boy, and a 2-year-old boy. The 4-year-old boy, when they went up there, this dad, this super dad, I guess he's going to teach them how to be men and survivors and all this other stuff in his own sick, selfish way of proving that this is what men do to these little kids. He had them go up that mountain 9 miles in which they had to get rescued. And if it was up to me, this man would not have custody of his kids, not see his kids, not anything. If that woman's smart, she need to take them kids as far away from this son of a bitch as she can, because this guy right here is not a father, he's a maniac. Take a look at this story. This is absolutely heartbreaking what these little kids went through. And I'd show his ass the flowers. Check it.
On to the other big story tonight, an 8-year-old doing CPR on her 4-year-old brother and asking her father if they're going to die. These are just some of the alarming details coming out tonight from charging documents that accuse Micah Smith of child torture.
So he is the man who was rescued along with 3 young children after hiking in some very bad weather and then having to shelter overnight in Big Cottonwood Canyon. 2 News' Natalie Wattis heard the Salt Lake County District Attorney talk about the charges being brought against him now, and she's joining us live. Natalie.
Smith is being charged with 6 felonies altogether. Those include child torture, as you mentioned, and aggravated child abuse after all 3 of his children ended up hospitalized after that hike.
This was, first of all, a hike. This is not recommended for children.
According to the charging documents, on October 11th, Micah Smith took his 3 children, who were 2, 4, and 8 at the time, on a 9-mile hike in Big Cottonwood Canyon.
This is a hike that led to, at a certain point, there are no more trails.
According to the police report, videos taken while on this hike show the children scaling a cliff and holding onto vegetation to make it up the mountain.
That experienced hikers from search and rescue themselves were injured in the process of trying to do it.
Smith said they neared the summit around 6 p.m. and then the weather turned nasty.
There was a drop in almost over 20 degrees of temperature. There was snow that was, there was the inclement weather that was occurring, and there is a child who communicates that they're afraid to go forward.
One of the videos is alleged to show the 8-year-old asking whether they were going to freeze to death. The document says they attempted to hike down and took shelter at about 8 that night under a large rock.
Their clothing was wet. They did not have sufficient appropriate clothing.
The children are described as numb from the cold and scared. Throughout the night, both the 2-year-old and 4-year-old stopped or had trouble breathing and needed CPR. It says Smith taught the 8-year-old to do CPR on her own brother. When search and rescue found Smith, the report said he was behaving oddly and didn't seem to be concerned about the children.
This is about the emotional and psychological harm that can be caused. The way that he acted was in a depraved manner. that caused emotional harm to the children.
All were hospitalized following their rescue.
The 4-year-old had to be intubated. They discovered that the child's body temperature was 17 degrees Celsius, which is 62 degrees.
The document states, quote, "The defendant's intentional and selfish act left his children in grave danger, with one of them dying and being revived multiple times and will never fully recover." Now, the DA stated multiple times this afternoon that these are all allegations at this point and that there is a presumption of innocence until proven guilty. Live in Salt Lake City, Natalie Wattis, KUTV 2 News. Back.
Not an easy hike that you would take a child upon.
Micah Smith is facing 6 felony charges after investigators say he took his 3 young children to hike up Broads Fork Trail up Big Cottonwood Canyon, leading to serious injuries and a rescue.
The search and rescue folks, for them, this hike was a hard hike. This is not an easy hike. This is a one that even as trained professionals, they suffered injury trying to respond to it.
The indictment says Smith and his 3 kids, ages 2, 4, and 8, set out on the trail at 10 a.m. on October 11th. Investigators said Smith did not check the weather. They were caught in a storm several thousand feet up the mountain. The indictment says they took shelter through the night under a rock. Salt Lake County sheriffs got the call for search and rescue on October 12th. The indictment said once the team found Smith along the trail, they said he was acting odd and told them that one of his kids had died.
2 of the younger children who had fallen down and taken some head trauma, including one who had stopped breathing.
In an interview with the 8-year-old girl, investigators said she told them her dad pressed them to go on after she had said she was scared. As conditions deteriorated overnight, she said her dad taught her CPR to keep her brother alive.
Try to save her brother and to also to continue to go through that experience where she communicated fear and concern, and they were told to march on.
Investigators said Smith's wife sent him text messages urging him to get the children down from the mountain before dark, at one point texting him child endangerment. Search and rescue said the kids were not wearing much clothing. According to the indictment, a video from Smith's phone recorded one of his children asking if they were going to freeze to death. The 4-year-old is still in the hospital. Investigators said his body temperature when he arrived at the hospital was 62.6 degrees. They said he had a stroke requiring part of his skull to be removed and a drain to be placed.
That this was something the children were afraid to do.
District Attorney Sim Gill said these are allegations at this time. 3 charges are child torture and 3 for abuse.
That they were going over rocks that were slipping. They were having to grab onto vegetation as they were trying to hike, as they were further going up.
Gill said the children are getting the medical care they need and Child Protective Services are aware of this case. The indictment says Smith was also arrested for domestic violence in the weeks after the incident.
After this incident on November 10th, the defendant was trespassed from Primary Children's Hospital for interfering with one of his child's care and tampering with that, allegedly with that equipment.
Smith has been booked into jail without bail. We reached out to his family for comment but haven't gotten a reply. In Salt Lake City, Avery Klanowski, Fox 13 News, Utah.
That's absolutely unacceptable. And that's the story of this guy, Micah Smith from Salt Lake City, Utah. Fucking father of the year. 31 damn years old and don't have a protective bone or instinctive bone in his body to know when enough is enough. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to put your attention over here. That's the 4-year-old boy when he was in the hospital. I don't know what update. This is from October 14th when he was in the hospital. He had a stroke from being in inclement weather and hitting his head several times trying to keep up with a father that didn't give a fuck about him, his 2-year-old brother, and put the burden of responsibility and common sense theorem all on an 18-year-old little girl, his own daughter. That was the voice of reason that he couldn't listen to, not even his own wife, who was texting this dumbass on the phone. Hey, child endangerment charges, dumbass, get back here. No, fuck it, we'll walk out. Let's admire nature. Like you was on Hushabye Mountain or something in the Disney movie. Your kids almost died because of your leadership. Yours. Doing something you wanted to do. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to look over here. Look at that one part. That's part of the hiking trail part. They went off the map and was going up the mountain. Look at how steep those tree trunks and stuff is. A 4-year-old boy cannot keep up with just the normal pace of a grown man walking slow over all of those obstacles. Can you imagine a 2-year-old's little body trying to do that? Both the 2-year-old and the 4-year-old kept falling and hitting themselves. At different times, they both went unconscious, where the 8-year-old, it was put on her to bring them back from the dead. Do you know the amount of tremendous stress put on a child that didn't ask to be in that position? Following behind their father, all three of them like little ducks, because they have no choice, because they're in the wilderness and they're following this motherfucker that don't know his ass from a hole in the ground. You knew it was getting cold out there. You knew they wasn't dressed for the weather. You knew when you seen snow and that you was in the wrong spot. You weren't supposed to be there. You knew when they started crying, probably about 3/4 of the way of a mile into this hike. And I want to go home, Daddy. I'm scared. And this and that. You didn't pay attention to that. And he said he was acting lethargic and all this stuff. Of course, his dumbass almost died. Probably had hypothermia and shit. But then again, he didn't have that much of a brain anyway to take them kids out there. You made sure you took them away from the mom, and the mom didn't go. Because you know she'd have been in your ass, in your ear. You ain't want to hear that. So you take the kids out there. Let's go for a walk. Let's enjoy nature. Your stupid ass almost died. Look at your fucking son. Look at him. Look at him right now. He's 4 years old. And he's in a damn debilitating state and already suffered a fucking stroke because his dad's a fucktard. What was you trying to prove, sir? What was you trying to prove with that? Now, if you paid attention, October 11th, they left. October 11th, the wife told him, come home, it's getting late. October 12th, he gets rescued. People got hurt trying to get your dumb ass off the mountain. So now, another example, ladies and gentlemen, of somebody making their problem somebody else's problem. I would have beat the shit out of him. If I was the police and the rescuers, I'd have left his stupid ass on the mountain and just brought the babies back. We didn't find them. All we saw was a mitten and a red jacket. I'd have threw his ass off that fucking cliff. How stupid are you? What you did was willful. It was arrogant and it was foolish. And you look stupid for your shameful act. And if it was up to me, you'd never see those kids again. If that woman's smart, she'd get up out of there. For real. Ain't no forgive and forget. Because that shit is unforgettable and unforgivable. I'm Stock Market Steve for the Dynamic Reason channel. As always, like, comment, share, and subscribe. How stupid are you to do that shit? This shit got me high, like mad as hell, like to the highest level of pistivity. I can't, as a man, I would never put my kids through that. And the signs were there. They were crying. They were fatigued. They didn't have a lot, of sustenance. They were falling. They were getting hurt. When you got to the part with the cliff, I would have never went out there. Who you think you are? Sylvester Stallone? Cliffhanger? I'd boot your ass right off the top of that Hushabye Mountain or Cottonwood Mountain, whatever the fuck it is. You'd be right down there in the goddamn ravine. Stupid shit. See you in the next video. Take care.